crafters, I'm JanB and I'm an independent Stampin' Up demonstrator. Today I'd like to show you how I made this Snowman Shaker card. Can you see that going down? Yes, there we go. Okay, so the card pieces that you're going to need. The card base is cherry cobbler and it measures 8 1/4 inches by 5 3/4, scored at 4 1/8, folded in half. A whisper white layer that measures 4 inches by 5 5/8. A cherry cobbler layer which measures 3 7/8 by 5 1/2 inches. Other cardstock you're going to need is you will need whisper white, silver foil and acetate, all that measure at least 2 1/2 inches square. And you might find it useful to put a post-it note onto your acetate so that it doesn't go walkabouts. And you will also need more silver foil that measures about 2 inches by 3 inches. You will need some silver glimmer paper, but I'll explain about that when we get there. So to start off, I am going to stamp the image, and I am using Memento ink, black ink, and the Snowman, and he is from the Sparkly Season stamp set, and I'll also be using the base of the globe. I'm not using this part on this project. So what I'm going to do is just do my snowman. There we go. Now that that's done, I can bring my Big Shot up and get all those pieces done. So I'll start off by doing the embossing first. So I need my multi-purpose platform, and I have it on tab 1, and I'm using the Softly Falling embossing folder with all the snow. So I'm taking my top layer of the cherry cobbler, just lining it up in my folder, and you should put the fold of your embossing folder through your Big Shot first. So make the sandwich and make sure it lines up really well, because there isn't much leeway, because the embossing folder is only a fraction smaller than the cutting plates. So this is what our embossed sheet looks like. So I can move the multi-purpose platform out of the way and bring in my magnetic platform. Now what I'm going to do is, to cut my snowman out, I am going to use the circle die that's in the Seasonal Frame Thinlits dies. But the circle for the frame, the silver foil frame, this here, I'm going to be using numbers 4 and 5 from my circle framelits. And the reason I'm using a different one for the snowman is because, if I can show you this, is that right? Yes, that's right. The I've marked this with a little line, so I know that that's the one that actually comes from the Christmas set rather than the circles. Now these two are going to be lined up together to get the silver frame there. This one is going to do the snowman, because this one is very, very fractionally smaller than the larger one here. Which way did I find that I could do it? I think if I put that one on top, didn't I? There we go. See, it's just an absolute tad smaller, and it just gives you that extra little bit of play area, if you like, because the white is going underneath the silver. We can get the white slightly smaller, so if you don't get it on top perfectly, you've got a tiny little bit that you can afford to be out. So we'll do the snowman in the slightly smaller one. In fact, we can do them both at the same time because we're not using the same dies. So let's get these two as well, and my silver. So I put one on there and pop the other one on the inside. Try and get them so that they've got an equal gap all the way around. Pop that on top. Oops. There we go. So that's our snowman. And pop that one back in there. And then I have the frame. Save that for something else that needs to be done something as well. Now the acetate, let's remove that off to the side a bit. Right, what I'm going to do is the big one. I'm going to pop it into place. Probably have to tilt your head sideways to make sure that you've actually got it totally on your piece. Right, now what I'm going to do with this is I'm going to give it, put a bit of a shim through with it. I suspect that because the acetate is so thin, I think that's why it's not getting, it doesn't always cut perfectly. In fact, that would have been a good idea to put the shim under first, wouldn't it? Okay, let's try that again. I think I've caught everything there. It's got stuck to the sheet. Cutting mat. There we go. Okay, so I've got that one as well now. I'll put my two circles back there, and I don't need my big shot anymore, so I can move that out of the way. Right, okay, let's get myself straightened up again. Okay, so let's do the painting of our snowman first. Colours I'm using are Cherry Cobbler, Cucumber Crush and Pumpkin Pie. Nice and easy to colour in this because it's got such thick lines. Okay, and it doesn't take long either. That's a green, and then the pumpkin pie for his carrot nose, and then I like to give him some dazzling details as well. So I'm going to use my two-way glue pen, just going to give it a little bit of a pump, make sure the glue is coming through. And then I'm doing the rim around his hat, the little bobble on his hat, and then I'm going to do the snow mound that he's standing on. And then finally just do some falling snow. Okay, and I'll bring in the dazzling diamonds, and hold the snowman with my tweezers, move the spoon out of the way, and then give him a good dunk in the dazzling diamonds. Okay. Cute, isn't he? Okay, so let's move that out of the way. Now we're going to start, I think what we'll do first of all is we'll put our card together. And I'm just going to use Tombow for that. There we go, that's fine. And Tombow again to get my embossed layer onto the Whisper White. Now let's bring the snowman back in. I do find that the acetate does, it's very static, so it will attract bits and pieces. If you've got any hairy bits on your frame, remove those before you get started. I never see anybody else having to do this when they're making a video. So does that mean to say I'm the only one who has that kind of problem? Let me know if you do, because I feel quite on my own here. Right, I'm going to put this acetate onto my frame using glue dots. Right, I think I'll take that off now. And what I do is I get the glue dots and I just fold them in half. And I suppose I put about 6 on here. I don't know what kind of a distance that is that I'm leaving. The thing is, you don't need to have the gap between the acetate and the frame sealed. It's the acetate and the snowman, that join that you need to make sure is sealed up properly. So we will have to use something more than just glue dots. Right, there we go. Now I'm going to pop this on top of the acetate. You may prefer to put it onto a coloured sheet while you're trying to do this. But that seems to work okay. Now when you're looking at this, if you find that one side is coming over the edge slightly, which I have here, try and aim to get that as your bottom piece, because then it will be hidden by the base of the globe. Okay, so that's the best way for me to do mine. Chances are I will forget by the time I get there, but never mind. Right, what we need to do now is to get a line of dimensionals round here. And rather than sitting here, having to keep cutting up loads of bits of dimensionals, the easy way to do it is where you've got this long strip down here, cut just below, let's see if I can show you this, cut just below the V there, okay? So that what happens is this will finish up as one complete strip, and then all those V's, the zigzag, will be one complete strip as well. Not by much, but that's not really the one we're bothered about at the moment. What we need is this as a strip that we can use, and we don't want it too thick because we don't want it showing behind there. So you take your scissors and cut along. Once I've done this, I'll show you what my sheet looks like. Okay, so you can see how close I've gone to the V there. They are still joined, just about, but I finish up with this really lovely strip. Now what you need to do is take one side of the backing off and then start to take one end of the backing off there. So that is completely backing free, that bit. It becomes very flexible and it is very easy to get it to go round curves. So you put the first bit on to your acetate layer and then just push a little bit down and turn it, push a little bit down, turn it, and keep on going round so that you find that you are actually going round the corner there. Okay, you've got a bit of the frame showing on the outside and the inside, and then just carry on gradually pulling this paper off. The reason I don't recommend you pulling the whole lot off is because it is very sticky and you could finish up having a fight with it. so much easier when you've just got little bits to deal with. Okay, so that's that bit. Not quite enough to do the whole rear ring. So what we do now, we go back again and we do the same on this other edge, the short edge. I've already taken that one so you can see how much I've got left there. Okay, it's still joined, but I was able to take a complete strip from here as well. Okay, so I've got another fine strip now. So I'm going to take one backing off. I'm going to butt that right up to the end bit there, so there is no gap. This is the bit where we can't afford to have, in fact you've taken that off, oh you forgot to take that bit off. Take that one off totally, just pull this one off a little bit. That's why it wasn't going round very easily. I'd left one piece of paper on it, and it's the paper that helps to keep it rigid, which is what we don't want. Now I know that I'm not going to use all of this, so I don't want to pull all of this last piece of backing paper off. In fact, it's come off, hasn't it? I'll have to put that back again. Okay, so just cut that last piece off. And make sure that that goes in so it closes right up. I'll show you that. You see how that's closed up? I think that might have gone fuzzy, but I think you can still see what I'm saying. Right, so I'm putting that back on there, and I'm going to cover that up as well. So that'll be ready to use for another project. And now what I'm going to do is I'm putting stars inside my shaker, and that's these stars. And I have got these from doing a strip of the silver glimmer paper using my, I think it's called Celebration Stars Punch, but I did a strip of this and it gave me loads of stars. So what I'm going to do is just tip a few out and pop it in the middle of my snowman. Now this is a bit where I said, because we've used this as a very slightly smaller circle than the large silver one here, it's fractionally easier to get the two lined up. Now if you've got any fluffy bits on the inside of your acetate, now's the time to move it. The outside, not too much of a problem because you can do that later, but I think that's all outside. Right, so what you need to do is, oh, that's the bit I want down to the bottom, isn't it? 'Cause you can see some of the acetate coming through there. Okay, right, bring it towards me because I've got to try and get this lined up. Okay. A little bit out, but you see what I've done here, I've missed it slightly there, so there's some of the dimensions showing, but that doesn't matter because I'm going to be sticking all of this onto my top layer. So what I just need to do now is squeeze these just to make sure that the dimensionals are actually stuck down really nicely. Okay, and make sure it shakes. Okay, so let's stick this onto the card. You see, if you're going to get the top layer on incorrectly, it's better for it to be that you've got some of this exposed, because that's going to be sticking anyway, rather than having some white showing outwards from there. Right, okay, so I'm going to pop that on there, allow that to go down. I'm going to let that rest for a while. Now I need to do the base for the globe to sit on. So I need my silver foil paper, which is this one, and the base, and I'm going to use Stays On, and I'm going to use my Stamp-A-Majig as well. Thing is, whenever you stamp on anything shiny, you have to be careful that you don't put pressure on the wrong place, otherwise you're going to slide. It applies to acetate as well, and it certainly applies to this. So if you use your Stamp-A-Majig, you can get your stamp into position, and then you can use your Stamp-A-Majig to hold your stamp so it doesn't go walkabouts. I'll show you what I mean. Okay, now I need to stamp down here somewhere, so I know my Stamp-A-Majig has got to be here. Okay, so really you get these two fitted up first on this occasion, and then pop it down. So I know by popping that down there, it's going to be fine. This will work. And now all I'm going to do is hold the two together. All the time I'm concentrating that that corner of my clear block is fitting nicely into the corner there of my Stamp-A-Majig, then it's not going to slide. It will do if you let one move. Right, now you will find that your stamp has stuck to your paper. So you have to peel it off, and really it is stuck quite hard. There we go. Now I like the effect that this gives. It's a real metallic kind of look. Doesn't do it perfect all over, it's like this one, that doesn't go perfect all over either. But I do like the effect. So now I'm going to just cut that out by hand. I'm going to leave an edge all the way around. There we go. Now to pop this on here, I'm going to use double layer dimensionals, and I'm only going to put them along the bottom. I'm going to use 3. I'm only putting it at the bottom because I want part of it to overlap onto the globe, and I'm doing double layer because on the snowman there's cardstock and a layer of acetate, and a layer of the silver foil for the frame, plus the fact there's glue dots there as well, so it's got quite a bit of height, and I would much rather have this slightly higher rather than lower. Now there we go. Okay, that's straight. Did that without looking. Yes, that's fine. Now the silver glimmer paper, the sentiment comes from the wonderful wreath Framelits dies. It does joy, you get joy, and you also get Noel. But what I do with these is I always keep a few ready of my dies, the words. Those are my two silver ones that I've got. But you know, when I'm in the mood, I just die cut a few out so that when I'm doing a project like this, they're ready. And I think, oh look, I did that one. Actually, I don't know. Have I done this upside down? I have seen somebody else putting the thick snow down this side. On this one, I've got it at the top, and I think at the top it's right. But now that I've done it upside down, I'm going to say that's the right way as well. Do you have an opinion on that? Do you think one's right, one's wrong? I think I do prefer the joy on this. And this is the advantage of having them ready cut out. You can actually just pop them on, see what do you like, and there it is. So I'm definitely going to use joy. I'm going to pop it on with Tombow and try and get little bits come up there. Get that stuck down again. Try and get Tombow on as much of the word as possible, because it's going on to embossed cardstock. Obviously it's only going to stick where it touches, and it's not going to touch everywhere. There we go, I think I've got everything. Okay, so my tweezers will help me get this. There we go. Well, that's my card for today, my Snowman Shaker card. I hope you like it. Quite easy, quite straightforward. If you have any questions, please ask, please contact me. I'm always happy to help. Many thanks for watching my video. If you've enjoyed it, please subscribe to my YouTube channel by clicking on the subscribe button on the right hand side of the screen. If you'd like to purchase any of the products that I featured here, please click on the link at the bottom of the screen, which will take you to my 24/7 online Stampin' Up shop. Many thanks for joining me today. Until next time, happy crafting. Cheerio.